Welcome back to In His Mind. So it is absolutely a gorgeous evening here. Had probably a 2-hour conversation with someone who is a good friend of mine. She is a firm believer in evolution, and it's interesting because of our conversations that we've had over time on this particular topic. I haven't changed my views, and I don't necessarily believe it has ever happened or is happening, or even that there is room for it. But I believe it could exist, and the way she put it is different than every other way that I've heard it, and how it's an ongoing process, something that is slowly happening over time. Now, we've had some conversations, and I am doing a bit of an update here on this because it's interesting. If evolution can be tied to sin, and sin, as we know, is tied to, how do I put this? The spiritual world exists, which combines both magic and, I believe, sin. I believe they're on a different plane of existence, a different level that is a part of this world. It's part of creation itself. And evolution is something that, if tied to sin in some way, it would explain so much of why things are changing and getting worse. This would be almost tied to like something degenerative or degeneration in that sort of sense, not in the same way as growth or maturity and how humans age on an individual level. The way humans looked hundreds, thousands, millions of years ago is something to be noted. I don't know if there's much of an explanation as far as a whole explanation as far as that with the bone structure outside of vitamin deficiency. And if there is any other explanations that go beyond this into, like spiritual stuff, we may never find them, but I realized that's not necessarily grounds for saying it's never happened, it doesn't exist, and all of that. Evolution, if God allowed it to be a part of this world and this universe, so to speak, he would have to put limits on this because, as I explained to my friend here, evolution changes us being who we are as image bearers in the Bible because of the slow change from point A to point whatever, D, E, F, G, H. Like, the beginning will never be the same as the ending. And that would change how we are looked upon, scripturally speaking, as image bearers. That's one of the core reasons why I don't believe evolution was ever allowed into this. But I do concede the point that it could exist if it is tied to aspects that God has allowed to bring glory to himself. He allows sin in this world. He allows wickedness and evilness to abound. And just like there are things and people and all that is, evil, wicked, and sin and all that stuff, there is the exact opposite too. Life, love, beauty, hope, joy, all of that stuff. However, the very fact that evolution is like sin in the sense that it cannot be viewed in a physical way, that you have to find evidence of it existing elsewhere, like in the actions of those that commit, throwing stuff out there, crimes, people who commit crimes. You can see sin existing because of that. Evolution, it's hard. We are hard pressed to find physical evidence on evolution. And I realized tonight, part of it is because it may not be on a physical level. If evolution is tied to what is spiritual, then that would be shown very differently. Overall, we know that degeneration exists and how sin affects us negatively. So it's an interesting point to consider. And it gives weight to the whole discussion of whether or not evolution is here and has ever been here. With that being said, I still think it changes who we are fundamentally as far as what the Bible says about us being image bearers. So yeah, just want to take a couple minutes to note this real quick.